All right, so we're doing inverses again, and same idea. We want to decide if they are inverses. Remember, we need to plug them into each other, and if they come out to be x, then they are inverses, but it has to work in both directions. So if this is what happens, then yes, they are inverses. Okay, if you get anything other than x from either direction, then no, they're not inverses. So the first one here, uh, let's just do FG first. Doesn't matter which order you do it in. So I'm going to plug G into F. So I have the cube root of negative x. Where I see that x, right, that's where I'm going to put the G function. So all of this stuff is going into the parentheses that I made. So I have negative x cubed plus 1. Then I continue with the f function. So now I'm going to do what I can to simplify this thing. I've got these parentheses with the negative in front, so that negative is going to get distributed, changing the x to a positive x cubed and the 1 to a minus 1. And then that plus 2 is going to drop down, and then I have this cube root. Then I'm still working on the inside of the cube root. So I have negative 1 plus 2. It's going to be x cubed minus, plus 1. And then I have this cube root. Now, if this plus 1, if this plus 1 had canceled out, then I could have canceled the x cubed with the cube root. But since it did not, I can't cancel it out, and I can't do anything else. So since this can't go any farther, then they are not inverses. Okay, if it doesn't cancel out, then they're not inverses. Since that plus 1's still there, can't do anything else. All right, that's the idea. You just plug them in, see what cancels, and see how far it goes. So I'm going to let you do number 2. Plugging that in won't be too bad. Number 3, where it gets a little bit tricky again. So I'll do that one, and then the rest will be yours. So I've got 12. So I'm going to, let's see, I better mark what I'm doing. So f of g of x. So g is going into x. So this is going into there. So I have 12 minus 4 times x. And instead of x, I'm putting the other function. So I have negative 3x plus 12 all over 4. And then that is all over 3. All right, so now I simplify. I'm going to distribute this 4 into the parentheses. And remember, it's negative 4. But when I distribute it, I can just cancel it out since there's a 4 on the bottom. But that negative still has to get distributed. So it's like there's a negative 1 here now. So negative 1 times the negative 3x is going to be a positive 3x. And then the negative 1 times the positive 12 is a negative 12. Drop the 12 down. Divide by 3. Now the 12 and the minus 12 can cancel each other out. And then I'm left with 3x over 3, and boom, those cancel out, so I'm left with x. So it worked that direction. Now I just need to try it the other direction and do g of f. If it works this way, then good, they're inverses. If it doesn't, then okay, they're not. So now f is going into g, so now it's going the other direction. So f goes in there, so I have negative 3 times 12 minus 4x all over 3. Then I have the plus 12 from the g, and then the all over 4 from the g. So now I'm going to distribute. Multiply the negative 3 into there, but the 3's again can cancel each other out. But that negative, so this is now a negative 1, is going to get distributed. So I now have negative 12 and a positive 4x. And that plus 12 drops down, and then the divide by 4 drops down. The negative 12 and the positive 12 on the top will cancel each other out. And then the 4 over 4 cancels, so I'm left with x. So yes, these are inverses. Okay. Remember that cubes and cube roots will cancel each other out. So if you're looking at this one, So if you can boil it down to where something like a cube and a cube root, then those will cancel each other out. So this is just x. Number 5, you will see that happen. I'll show you one of them here. So the cube root of 2 plus x plus 1 cubed minus 2 and minus 1. So that I put the g function into the f function. All right, but those parentheses really aren't necessary because there's nothing in front of the parentheses and there's no exponent. So you can ignore the parentheses or rewrite it without them, either way. But then we have 2 and a minus 2. They go to 0. They cancel each other out. Now I'm left with x plus 1 cubed and then cube rooted. So those will cancel each other out, leaving just x plus 1. No more cube root, no more sign. You can put parentheses if you want, but you really don't need to. Just drop down that minus 1, and then those cancel out. So you're left with x. All right, so yeah, you test that the other way to make sure it works. Show me all of your work. If you have questions, just ask.